Morning all, May the 4th, 2022 Bulletin. We went back risk on, which is of note. We need to keep an eye on that. They sold DAX and they sold the CAC, which is the French index. Because of that, it shifted the sentiment back to risk on. VIX is below the 30 psychological handle, so that's interesting. And you note that the Aussie bubble is strong as well. That's in a strong buy section, so today will be very interesting. We see a bit of yen strength on small time frames, but we've got to remember the dollar is strong across multiple time frames. So monthly it's strong, weekly, daily, H4, H1, M13 and 15. So we want to probably not really want to fight the USD currently, because the big time frames are strong, so and the small time frame agrees. So be careful. I put quite a lot of stuff on the technical channel, and it looks like quite a bit of stop loss clusters are going to get probed, which would make sense. The big fish will take the liquidity before the FOMC, and then we can maybe spike on that. Synthetic sentiment is suggesting pound weakness and euro and CAD strength. So there's the pound being fairly dark, orangey, and there's CAD being fairly green, and euro being fairly green, but they're not like blocks of green, they're quite mixed. That's not a block of orange or red, that's quite mixed as well. So it might be one of them days where it's just gonna fluctuate. There's S&P buy. So this was a convincing enough move for me to bail, and it got me out, and I've been studying this FXCM sentiment for years, so that was quite a cruel little trap there. I think if this does come up, which it looks like it is going to now, that bit got me out, which is quite frustrating. But you need to obey your risk management. You need to know where to exit. That was a volatile enough move for me to bail, to exit. So that was a convincing enough move for me. So if it got me, it would have got the majority of retail traders, because they're not even looking at sentiment, and we're looking at sentiment, and that was enough vicious move to get me out of my long, which is quite frustrating. But that's trading. You need to know where to exit. And there's that big recovery as well, and it chopped sell by interchange. That got me. And but we have to remember, perhaps we still need to fall, because at 58% they're still long, so we still might be able to fall in order for this to come to 50%. A dump at the FOMC will be enough to cement the deal in order to convince these guys we are going to fall. So a dump would be welcome, and then we can rally. So that's what I'd expect to happen, because they need to convince themselves that we are going to fall. And so we'll have to see what happens. I think what happened on the hour at 7 PM will fall quite dramatically, and then Powell will say something at the press conference. The questions will all be vetted. He will have rehearsed his answers in advance, and whatever he says, I think it's going to lift the sentiment, and then we'll rally. So I expect we're going to see a big dump and an almighty rally. So keep an eye on your VIX, which is on your spreadsheet there. So keep an eye on that level. That's really, really, really important. So there's that. So we're currently are a buy, but we might fall, and then it'll be like the flush out, which is what we needed. Gold is currently sideways. It's hard to say what's going to happen here. Potentially it could be a sell, but they need to buy it in order to come to be a sell. So it'd be worth monitoring how this develops after FOMC. So this will definitely shift today, that's for sure. FXCM clients, France and Germany are the largest movers towards buy. So there's the dark greens. UK 100 was also a big mover. And Kiwi USD was the greatest sell, but it's not really like a dark colour so much, it's quite a faint colour, and we want the colours to match for confirmation over time. So you want green and greens to match, and reds to match. So we've got a bit of a chop with EJ, for example. That shifted quite a lot towards sell. So we've got a flattening at the long dated yields, so that's a concern. This will change after FOMC, I think. It will depend what Powell says, but I think this is going to stabilise and return to like a normal curvature. That has to come down, the 5-year. That has to come down like today. If it remains elevated and above the 30-year, then that's a concern. So be careful. Cross yen correlation's a bit out of bonk today. Pound yen and Swiss yen are inversely correlating with US 500. CAD yen is positively correlating at where are we? 82% probability. So it tells us that pound and Swiss are deviating on a technical basis. So watch pound and watch Swiss today, because they're going against the grain among their peers. So it tells us that something's going to happen with the pound, something's going to happen with the Swiss. So that's why this stat matrix is really good, and you should get a copy of the Quant Tower as well. It's free, and because it's free, why not get it? You know, it's amazing. There's another Quant Tower thing. It's the heat map. So China was up a lot this day. It didn't really budge at all. I was watching it, and it was so strong. So I think what might happen, they're going to be like a backup plan. If the markets do tumble, which is a likely possibility, China will be on standby, and then they'll stimulate the economy. And I'm pretty sure the Central Bank of China and the Federal Reserve, they've talked about this Plan B situation. In case things do go like melt up in the States, China's going to stimulate the economy, and then it'll be, oh, we'll risk on again. So they're going to be like the standby in case we tumble in the Western Hemisphere. So I think yesterday's strength was telling for today. It was saying that we can be risk on. We have enough capital to stimulate the economy. So what happens today, no one really knows for sure, but that's a possible scenario. I think it's going to happen, that there'll just be a Plan B scenario. But I don't think we even need it. It might depend what Powell says. He might say something and we'll go rocket mode. And this is at 6:15 UK time. Subject to enormous change. It can flip very suddenly. As you know, this could be very green or could be very red in 13 hours time, because that's when the FOMC is. SLC update. And you can see these numbers a bit clearer now. I've gone to like full screen, so you can see like the dark colours. They're like the liquidity targets. AU above is large, and gold was the largest mover towards buy, and it moved 6%. The size of AU is the largest, so it might come up there, but it's hard to say. We are a sell, so maybe we shouldn't really come up there. See, we're a sell at the static level, sell at the dynamic level, and the dynamic agrees. However, the Aussie basket is a buy, so remember, we've got to look at the basket, not just necessarily AU, the Aussie basket. No signals yesterday. We had a dollar CAD, but it came at 9 PM, but we reset the sheet at 10 PM, so there isn't any point recording that signal. It's fine with me that we didn't get any signals yesterday. That's actually really good. If we get any today, treat them with caution, as things will likely flip by the time FOMC commences. The fact that we didn't get any signals yesterday is a great sign that the signals are working as expected, because we really shouldn't get them when we're having like a massive volatility risk event. So it's good for me that we didn't get any yesterday, because it could have been, it was like risk adverse, and we didn't really particularly want to enter trades yesterday because of this risk event today. So for me, I'm going to be trading after the event. And there are some people who did trade yesterday and they did encounter a loss, but you need to have a plan and know when to trade and when not to. Just to say that I suspect Powell will lift sentiment and the VIX will be massively crushed, so keep an eye on the VIX. The questions from the press will be vetted and Powell will have rehearsed his answers. They can't afford a Fed policy mistake. Trade safely at all times. So that's just that. We'll see how we do today. We could completely change the whole scenario tomorrow. We could be very green or we could be very red. So just trade carefully. Know your exit. If you don't know your exit, you can always ask me, and then I could advise where you want to get out if you're wrong, and try and look at the sentiment and things like that. And big day today, so just be careful. And I expect this is going to probably have to dump, maybe, and then it will cement the deal, and then that'll be it. This will be the bottom, I believe. So it all depends today. So today is absolutely pivotal. Trade safely, and I'll be back tomorrow. And but I'll be trading after the event this evening. And so have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon.